Thank you very much once again to all my speakers. Yeah, three very different stories, but three manufacturing businesses that are genuinely deploying Industry 4 approaches and seeing real growth as a result. So, yeah, we've got 10 minutes for questions. So I'd like to open it out to the floor. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I've got a couple to start us off with. Yeah, just one over there.
It's Andrew Gork from BAE Systems. I'd like to ask, it's Charles of the lift company. Is this remote monitoring just a standard offering, or do customers pay for it as like a premium service, or is it just your standard service now?
Sorry.
Yeah, your remote monitoring service, is that a standard service you offer to all customers, or do you charge for that? Just understanding the business model behind it.
The business model is now that we're going into people, into different customers, and trying to sell them the benefits of remote monitoring. If we don't charge any extra for the service because there's a benefit for both of us, right. But we do charge for the initial hardware. Right. If they're using one of our control panels, then they get it for free. Okay. We have to put it on an existing lift where we have to put additional hardware, then we have to charge for that. But the benefits are for both parties, so we do try to keep the price as low as we can.
Hi there, Alex Campbell from SMAS. Got a question for Mike. How did you engage with the wider workforce with regards to the new technologies you described in your presentation?
So how did the workforce react, did you say?
How did they react, and how did you engage with them initially?
A very good question. It's part of a culture change with us. I think it's helpful that our business has grown so much, so they're not fearful of the technology of taking jobs away from them. And it was actually an opportunity for the workforce to help them. So we had a number of skilled business builders in the business at the time who were, and we still have them today, but instead of them being threatened by it, they saw it as taking a bit of a workload off them, and they've then become team leaders to use their skills and train others. So they've actually been able to move up the management a little bit, whilst other people have come into the business. One of the biggest benefits that we've seen with workforce-wise is it used to take us at least 6 months to train somebody, and that's a huge cost to a business of ours. On the line that we just showed you, in the Jaguar Land Rover line there, we fully trained somebody from an entire station within about 2 weeks. So as we're growing the business, the cost of training has just plummeted compared with what we would never have achieved the growth and the workforce the way we have done without the technology. So it's been a massive help.
Any more questions from the floor? Yeah, near the back there.
So question for Mike. What were your primary reasons for doing what you've done? Was it primarily to reduce cost of production? Was it for greater throughput? Was it new business model, business revenue streams? What were your primary reasons?
We were finding that our customers were giving us the business for the engines when they had to, almost as a last resort, because they didn't have the confidence that our processes were as good as their engine plants. They had a lot of disruption in their engine plants that they knew, and they could put a massive monetary number to it, but there wasn't the alternative. What we've done is the processes we've put down with all of this inline capability of sensing is to prove that it's a quality product and you can't make a mistake. That has then triggered the sign-off for the purchase order from JLR came from the main board, and the payback to them in giving us that order was 2 car transporters of Range Rovers. It was as quick as that. It was the fastest payback they've had in a long time. And from there it's just snowballed, because once you can demonstrate what you do openly on a line like that, then the other competitors can see it, and our business is just rocketing with opportunity from doing it. So it's a great step, but making that step would not have happened without us being able to have the Industry 4 digital element of it to prove what we were doing. It just would never have happened 5, 10 or 15 years ago, no matter how much money you throw at it. The technology wasn't there.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. My question is for Mike. I'm so curious about if you start the project as a pilot project with a small steps, or was a full implementation from the beginning?
I wish I could say that we'd trialled it, but we hadn't. We went from nothing to that production line in 9 months. Very stressful part of my life. And it worked. I mean, what you've got to remember is when you look at it as a line, it looks quite an elephant, quite a beast. But in a lot of the technology that we've taken in, we've managed to pinch from benchmarking other industries or take from other industries, whether it be from food, from delivery logistics, various places where we thought, well, we could use that, we could use that. Whilst it was the first time we'd integrated it together, which had some issues, each of the individual items were already proven to be standalone. So when we put it in, we did put it in with the knowledge that we could integrate some of it now, a lot more later, which is frankly what we've done, but we ran with independent systems for a while. We still have some independent systems. Now we're in the process of then integrating them. But again, I was surprised how quickly we were able to do that, because databases, as I'm not an IT person, but how quickly we've been able to get databases to talk to each other and integrate that with the use of graduates joining our business has been really much simpler than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. So I've got a question. I'll use Chair's prerogative to ask a question to perhaps all the panelists. So what advice would you give to technology developers that are looking to deploy with manufacturing, with manufacturers? So the developers of the technologies as opposed to the manufacturing. How should they engage with manufacturers? Any volunteers to take that one?
I've probably come from that, from being here a year ago in another format similar to this. If I get your question right, mate, if they're technology developers and they want to come and see us, what? Just be honest with us. If you can show it and show what you're doing, and then it builds a lot more confidence. What a manufacturer like us, particularly when it's your own SME and it's your own money, as it is with me, you don't want to be wasting your money. It's a very personal thing. So be very clear on what you can and you can't do. Do not overpromise, and listen. Try and engage with them. Try and go on, see their actual shop floor environment, see what they're doing, talk to the people, and if you can fix it, by all means, try and fix it. But also, if you can't, just put your hand up and say you can't. And sometimes there isn't a solution out there, and people like me, companies like me, will say, okay, we'll develop it together. And there have been examples, and maybe this is why you asked the question, because you kind of know some of the answer, whereby we've had somebody developing some technology. They've been honest enough to say they'll think it'll work over time, but it isn't there yet. And we have joined with them to work with a catapult, with some funding, to try and get that product to market, to help us where there is a gap. So I think honesty is so vital in life, particularly when you're going to develop technology with a manufacturing partner like us.
Okay, yeah, tremendous answer. Thanks very much, Mike. So, just a reminder, we as the Knowledge Transfer Network can link the technology developers to manufacturers and vice versa. So I'll just highlight Nigel Ricks here in the middle, our head of enabling technology rather. So Nigel and his team collectively know the tremendous developers of the likes of sensors technology, IoT technologies that can be brought to bear for the benefit of manufacturers and help them to grow. So come and see us on the stand. I'll be around for the next hour or so, and many thanks for listening. Do contact us as KTN. We can link you to sum up to partners and to funding that are going to enable you to innovate. Thanks very much indeed.